we have actually a great program tonight. If I could have your attention, please. The mayor is here, and I want to take full advantage of her time. So, first of all, on behalf of the chamber, I want to welcome you all. This is our Policy Matters event. It's the first of many for the year. The next one is going to be in May 24th, at the Inn on Broadway with our entire state delegation. So, I'm going to cue you up on that. I'm going to start by thanking Jim Brown and a great convention center team for hosting us. They do a phenomenal job, and the men and women are serving here. Every time we have something here, they are fantastic. We wouldn't have it without them. We have some sponsors. It would not happen without our sponsors. If I go through quick, from AT&T, Kevin Hanna. I know Kevin was over here. I want to thank Kevin. Charter Communications, Chris Mueller. Chris is here. So there's Chris. I want to thank Chris. RTV, Joe Rizzo, the power man. Over here, Joe. I want to thank him. Delta Airlines, Patty Orris cannot be here. I'm going to thank Delta, but AT&T, Charter, RG, and Delta are great sponsors of this. I want to thank them all. It would not happen without them. I want to thank Chris Weiss and Shannon Ely from our team, advocacy team. Chris is here somewhere off to the side. He and Shannon worked very hard on this. I want to thank them. I want to thank Susan George and Michelle Heffern from our events team. I want to thank all of Michelle and Susan over here, all the work they do. And very quickly, I'll start this off. ROC the Riverway is exciting. The governor has laid down a challenge, $50 million for this community, this city, to come up with a plan by May, and we're going to do that. I want to, first of all, commend Mayor Warren and her team. She'll meet Mayor in a second. With the Mayor today is Alex Shielson, her Chief of Staff, Kevin Kelly, as City Planner, Dana Miller, Deputy Commissioner of NBD, Norm Jones, a lot of pressure on Norm, he's on the Advisory Committee, Commissioner of DES, no pressure, Norm, and Patrick Flanagan from the Media Office. Mayor's team is here, but I want to, before the Mayor comes up, the Mayor and team have done a great job. They put together a compilation of projects, food for thought, possible projects for investment in the Riverway. $50 million the governor's putting down, it's a starting point. It sounds like a lot, it's not as much as you would think. We're hoping to do something and create a plan that creates excitement, where the private sector will come in, developers may want to come in and partner with us down the road, but the city has really lead this effort. This is, they're in charge of the downtown property, and the mayor's been superb in the work that she and her team have done putting these projects together. This is not the final list. This is really a great list to look at, food for thought for people. We're trying to really create a lot of community input on this. But the city really is in the lead. And myself and Ann Kress, the commissioner, or the president of MCC, we are co-chairing the panel, but we are not decision makers. We're here to put together a plan that the mayor and his community would love, and give it to the governor sometime in May, and hopefully get this thing going. So she's a very busy schedule. The mayor and the city, they're members of the Chamber of Commerce, so she's a member of ours. I want to thank her for taking time to come out of a very busy schedule. She's on a tight schedule tonight. But please welcome the great mayor of our city, Mayor Lovely Warren. Mayor.
ROC the Riverway is a project that we're very excited about. I think it's a great idea. We want to partner. We're going to put $50 million on the table to make it a reality.
What our young people are looking for, or our tech companies are looking for. They want a place that's providing something for them to do. They want a lot of green space, and what we have proposed will allow us to do that.
So I hope as you look at that video that you are ready to rock the Riverway as well. I wanted to thank Bob Duffy for being a great champion for Rochester, a great supporter and a great partner Many of the projects that we have been able to get done on our level has been done in a partnership with the Chamber, and he has been a valuable partner to me as mayor, and I truly want to tell him and the Chamber how much we truly appreciate you and all the work that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rochester. Let's please give him a round of applause. I've been excited about this project for a long time, but my heart really gets thumping and pumping at times like this. I'm especially happy to talk to this audience of Chamber of Commerce members because I know I'm preaching to the choir when I talk about the need to start thinking big and to move Rochester's economy forward. So let me tell you about ROC the Riverway. We're talking about a collection of 28 transformational projects to get our citizens and visitors actively engaged with the Genesee River in a beautiful green space that runs alongside it. For many years, Rochester ignored the full potential of the Genesee. We saw it as mainly a tool of industry, not as a source of activity, recreation, economic potential. In many places, we turned our backs to the river, and we heard that from the National League of Cities. We were one of 4 cities that was selected as a Rose Fellowship. I want to recognize our planning team. Kevin Kelly's here today. Thad as well is here from MVP because we listened to the national experts about what we needed to do in order to make Rochester revitalize itself like other cities have done. With the ROC the Riverway project, we're going to change that perspective. We're going to turn toward the river. We're going to re-engage the river. The combined total of 28 projects that we're proposing, but they're just conceptual, is $500 million, which we hope to secure over a 10-year period. Our task at hand right now, in partnership with Bob Duffy and Ann Kress and the ROC the Riverway Advisory Board, is to come up with the first set of projects that makes the best use of the $50 million that Governor Cuomo has pledged to us in February. So let me give you a brief overview of our concept plan and some of the projects that I think are most transformative. ROC the Riverway focuses on the core of the river from the vacuum oil all the way north to the running track bridge, with 3 distinct yet connected sections of the South River, downtown, High Falls, each with their own unique needs. And you can see from this map here that we have a lot of private investment going on all around the Riverway. And I'm excited that this week we learned that we received $5 million from the governor to revitalize the Main and Clinton corner. The last corner in downtown Rochester will be revitalized, and we were able to secure those dollars from the governor and his team. So I think that that deserves another round of applause. We want to build on a recent investment that have happened all along the river corridor. Now public investment to drive private investment and job creation. And so the appropriate place to start is, of course, our downtown. At the core of downtown is the Broad Street Aqueduct. Our City Hall team reimagined the aqueduct in the Rundell Library North Terrace, putting forth a creative proposal to turn the Broad Street Tunnel into a great public space that would be an asset for the Convention Center, the Blue Cross Arena, and all of downtown Rochester. 2 of the key drivers of tourism and economic growth in our city is the Blue Cross Arena and right here, the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. They are both in need of renovations to keep them competitive with other cities and venues. Further investment in them will drive economic growth, create jobs, and make our downtown more vibrant. Connecting the trail on both sides of the Genesee River is central to our plan, and throughout the proposal you'll see just how we utilize great public spaces, increase trail access, and better connectivity for our neighborhoods. And building off of the success of recent renovations on East Main Street, we want to continue to work to utilize our bicycle and pedestrian-friendly complete streets motto where East Main Street crosses the river. Charles Carroll Park is severely underutilized park with a parking garage underneath, and that parking garage currently is falling apart, and the park is really in desperate need of repair. We used to have concerts here, people used to come down here and have a great time, and that is not happening right now. We want to make it a great space for our citizens to come back and utilize, as well as our visitors. It has the opportunity to be one of the city's great public spaces in close proximity to the First Federal Plaza, the Rochester Riverside Hotel, and many public and private institutions. The proposal has the opportunity for potential private development also along the Riverway, like the parcel at the corner of Andrew and Front Street. That parcel is currently vacant. It's currently where the Chamber of Commerce is behind the Chamber of Commerce now. And it has opportunities for more seamless connections between downtown and neighborhoods. As we move south, we want people to get into the water. We want boats, canoes, kayaks, and a Cornhill navigation boat on the river that focuses on the South River with the opportunities to continue restoring our shore and to recharge our trails, making them more accessible to pedestrians and bicycles. Potential water landing activity centers and even new pedestrian crossing are all on the table. And then there is, of course, the High Falls, one of Rochester's most precious natural resources and an opportunity for recreation, clean energy, and tourism. We are excited to continue working with Greentopia and other stakeholders that have made progress in the High Falls area, building off of the success of the Genesee Brewery. And it's important that we also re-envision the Ponce de Rennes Bridge. This bridge, which is in need of investment in order to stay open, plays a crucial role in connecting the High Falls with the Genesee Brewery and the surrounding neighborhoods, which have seen increasing in private investment in recent years. It has the most stunning view of the falls in Rochester. A closed Ponce de Rennes Bridge would be a black eye on our community, and I strongly believe that we should consider funding that revitalization of that bridge. Our team has envisioned additional recreation opportunities in High Falls, and we look forward to continuing to work with RG&E, an important community partner in this endeavor, on the land that they currently own. And lastly, the Running Track Bridge is a former rail bridge that once exemplified the city's industrial might, but today sits abandoned. Rehabilitating this bridge would provide direct pedestrian access to the El Camino Trail and help connect citizens from High Falls to downtown. This was a vision for the late County Executive Tom Fry. He spent many, many years working on the El Camino Trail and wanted to be a way to connect the Northeast Rochester with Northwest Rochester. We want to be able to complete his vision. This is the last part of that. So now you can see why I am so excited about ROC the Riverway. These projects overall plan to revitalize our entire downtown corridor and up into our neighborhoods, both on the south and up to the north. These are projects within the overall plan that I think have the most ability to get the community's attention out of the gate. And if you want to see the full proposal, please visit cityofrochester.gov/ROC the Riverway. Now I will be glad to take any questions that you may have, and we do have some of our community partners and city staff that's here, the commissioner who's on the board, as well as other members of our team that's here that can talk to you offline if you have additional questions, and we have the boards in the back of some of the projects that we envision. But of course, none of this is set in stone. I believe that you have until May, to basically make a proposal to the governor, and these are just what the city feels would be the initial part of the $50 million. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know how to word this. I'm not really good with words, I'm sorry, but I'm good with vision, and I just don't like the pictures that I see, and I know there's a lot of people like me in the area too, and you know, people that have left the area too, to go to Austin, Texas, San Fran, you know, what have you.
What would you like to see?
Oh, I got so many ideas. Like, first off, like, there was no picture of snow on there. You know, half our year is the winter, you know, and they all were, so we have to incorporate the beauty of winter in whatever we do. And it's not being done, which is very disturbing.
Well, you know what? That's a great point. Thank you for raising that. Kevin, write that down, and we'll bring some pictures of snow and what it could look like during the wintertime. I think that that's a very great
I
point.
would like to, help you guys,
Okay.
and I can help you,
You're standing right next to Norm Jones, our Commissioner of DES, and I think that we have a couple more public meetings that are scheduled. The ROC the Riverway team have a couple of public meetings that are scheduled. This is what we would like to hear, your ideas. As I said before, this is a conceptual plan. It's not a plan that's set in stone, so everybody's ideas are welcome. This is our city, it's not my city, it's our city. So we want to make sure that we're doing things that are going to get people of our community excited, visitors excited, and I think that you make a great point that we need to incorporate the 4 seasons into what we envision for the project. Anyway, yes, sir.
To that point, with the subway, being that it's concealed, is there any proposals to develop that?
So the Broad Street Aqueduct, we would take, one of the pictures shows that there's a couple conceptual ideas, and I know that there's a lot of interesting and exciting art currently in the aqueduct right now, and we want to be able to preserve that art in some kind of way. So we're going to incorporate those art pieces into whatever we do, maybe in the in the aqueduct space. So we want to be able to utilize those and refurbish or reuse those bricks and other things to preserve that artwork that's there. And we're going to try to figure out a way to incorporate the ongoing sort of artistic value that the aqueduct currently plays into whatever we do there. Yes, ma'am.
So I love the proposals. I think it's fantastic to face the river and all those kind of things. My question had to be the microphone when it was my turn. So I was just saying, I love the proposal. I think they're beautiful images. I work for SWPR, so I'm in city planning and urban design, so I think it's really amazing. My question is about sort of the larger community. How do we plan to use this great investment, this great opportunity that we have to empower the people in the neighborhoods that are connected to the city, really make this an inclusive place that everyone feels comfortable using? I think that we all know about the scary statistics in Rochester. I am a city-owned person. I send my child to the city schools. Big advocate of the city schools, big advocate of the city. And I think this is an incredible opportunity for us. I just think it would be an opportunity missed if we don't put it at the absolute forefront. The larger initiatives that are at stake, that's the anti-poverty initiatives, that's advocating for the city schools, as I said, to think about the other neighborhoods, to make sure that this integrates everyone in the city. And I'm sure that you guys are thinking about this, but these are just the questions that I'm always thinking about. So I wonder if you could share that with us.
So we have a whole riverfront development plan that goes from Charlotte all the way down to Genesee Park. And so this is just a start. One of the things that they did in Buffalo with Canal Side, and I know as an architect, you know that you start somewhere and then you grow out. And so we want to start here, bring some exciting opportunities, get people really engaged and energized about the waterfront, and then build out into those other places. Right now we have a design charrette. We're working with the Community Design Center for Charlotte in that area, and that's why that's not part of this particular plan. Right now we're just focusing on this corridor. The El Camino Trail actually connects the northwest side of the city with the northeast side of the city. El Camino Trail goes all the way down Conkey Avenue into the neighborhoods, and we're working with Project Hope as well as Josana and the other neighbors on the west side. When you go up north, you have the Plymouth Exchange neighborhood and the vacuum oil. When you talk, one of those photos when you talk about re-engaging the river is the back side of the Plymouth Exchange neighborhood, and that neighborhood is being engaged as well We have been working with those neighbors for a long time, so this is very much in partnership with everyone. No one has a one stake in this. We just want to get started. The governor has given Bob and Ann a deadline as to what's the first step, and we want to be able to build off of that. So we're not going to do everything in year 1 or year 2. It is a 10-year sort of vision of what we can do, but it will other things will be going on at the same time, not just this. We are going to be doing other things in neighborhoods. If you talk to Kevin, we are designing some projects in the Bulls Head area, which is on West Main Street. We are also doing some things in Beechwood. We're doing Josana. So there's a lot of different things going on at the same time. Today, we're just right now talking about this. And actually, did we release that that website yet? That shows all the projects going on all over the city?
Projects and plans.
Okay, so if you really want to see what's happening all over the city, our planning department developed a link on our city's webpage that is www.cityofrochester.gov, and it will tell you every project that we have going on currently, road projects as well as housing projects, and you'll be able to see that it's all encompassing.
Right, I think that like this particular opportunity, and that's really great, and sorry to interrupt you. Even with just this particular project, I think it's really important, just to say my tiny little soapboxy piece, to focus on involving all the people, because I think that part of inclusivity and what makes people actually use open space and actually go to open space is feeling like they're a part of it. So I know that I would be happy to volunteer my time. Like I would love to do some public outreach. I would be happy to document those things. I know a lot of people who would be into that too. I know Maria at CDC, and I've talked to her about this as well, and they do fantastic work. But just to put it out there that I think even for projects like this that are, you know, open spaces and places for the community, it's just, and I know that you know this too because I've heard you speak and it's powerful and I'm all about it. But just to make sure that we really focus and make it a huge priority that these are inclusive places for everyone and everyone will feel they can use them.
You're right, and that's why we're doing a lot of community outreach, and we're having these public sessions, and we're going out and we're talking to the community and allowing them to ask questions and get more engaged. The next planning session is when?
The next public one is May 1st, but we're having community meetings with the neighborhood association separately.
Okay, so the next public one is May 1st, but we are having different smaller community neighborhood association meetings with those neighborhood associations separately. So you're 100% right, and we're definitely on it.
Got time for one more question?
2 more. I got 1 and 2. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Jameson Clark. I'm the Chief Design Officer of Goose Design Co. And I had some points I'd like to bring up. One thing is that around the Cornhill neighborhood and Upper Falls areas, we've seen mixed results, I'd say, in the business performance. And I was wondering what steps we're taking now to make sure that the businesses that would be around the waterfront are viable. And I also saw a proposal that would allow some space for food trucks. I was wondering if if you considered a sort of a shipping container style modular.
We have that here.
Modular retail. Oh, is that on another?
Right there, down in the corner.
Okay.
That's a shipping container. You really can't. That's along by Erie Harbor, where that green space is on South Avenue.
Okay.
Where you would be able to rent kayaks and bikes and other things. So we have that. We have, that's a conceptual kind of plan for there as it pertains to what we're trying to do to reinvigorate and support businesses in downtown Rochester, restaurants and other things. So right now we're at a critical crossroads. As a city, we are in a position where we have to compete. We have to compete with places like Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Dayton, Ohio, and all these other places. And Rochester is a very conservative town when it comes down to taking a leap of faith. One of the things that we've been able to do is really look at, okay, what can we do as a city to support businesses in a way that will drive people to downtown Rochester? When we talk about what we want to do with the entertainment complex in Parcel 5, when we talk about the jobs that it create in construction, in the restaurant business, in the hotels, all of that, right now we have cities around us that are getting people, they're getting the resources, they're getting the support because people are driven there because of their entertainment. Rochester, we do the arts very, very well here. And as I look at what we can do as a city, it is to highlight that. The only way that we're able to highlight that is if we have a venue that would allow us to do that. So bringing in people from outside of the area, outside of just the city of Rochester to come in, experience downtown in a unique and exciting way. That's what this does. That's what an entertainment complex does. That's what renovating the convention center will do, as well as the Blue Cross Arena. This time that we're in is a very critical crossroads. Other cities are well ahead of us in that game, and we are trying to play catch up. And we've been able to survive really well given a lot of the things that have been happening over time. The decision that Bob Duffy made when he was mayor to demolish Midtown and bring, places like Tower 280, all of the new residences that are going up downtown. Well, what happens right now is that today, if you walk outside, most people will drive into those lofts, drive into the Midtown Tunnel or the garage, and they'll go up to their loft and they'll stay there. Or they'll go right down to Bronca, grab something to eat, or at the Metropolitan, they'll go to the restaurant and they'll stay there. We need something to draw them out. We have increased the residents that live downtown by, it's like 10 to 12,000 people that are in this area right now. You would never know it because we haven't given them a reason to come outside. We want to give them a reason to come outside. Giving them a reason to come outside increases their ability to support businesses like Morton's and other things that are happening, giving them a reason to come to the convention center and do business. It's about showing life. If you go to any other city, that's what they're focusing on, drawing people out, bringing life and entertainment. So this summer you'll see that, not just during the Jazz Festival and during French Festival or Park Avenue Festival, but really bringing life to downtown outside of them so that residences and our own people can see that this is the place that you want to be. Yes.
Thank you.
It was him, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just have more of a comment, and I'm thrilled to hear kind of the passion as you describe the projects, and I've been in your shoes. I'm an architect at Clark Patterson Lee. I'm with fellow other architects from CPL, but I'm also wearing the hat of Vice President at the American Institute of Architects. And so my comment on the entire project, and when I saw the advisory council, I was a little disappointed to not see an architect at the table. And the value that we as architects have as designers, not just of buildings, but of public spaces and spaces in general. And so I ask and urge to always keep architects at the table and to encourage, I think, a good amount of people here in attendance are architects. And so during this process, and I know where you are coming from in the whole process, we've been there, but from a community standpoint, not just one firm or single firm, but from the architecture community, to really engage and ask upon a really strong and rich architectural community that we have here to be at the table on that advisory council to contribute to some of these decisions. I know they're conceptual, but that's where we thrive, and that's where I hope you'll engage the rest of us in the community.
And you're 100% right. We do plan on engaging the engineering and architectural community, and we're going to have a session. The issue that we had was we didn't want to choose one. We didn't want to choose one firm over another, and then it seemed like, that we were showing favoritism. So we're going to have a session just for folks like yourself to come and engage and be a part of that. And so that, I agree with you, but that was the challenge that we had in talking with the governor and knowing that we have so many great community partners and designers and planners and architects and engineers here. We needed to make everyone feel like they're part of the discussion, and we'll have a planning session just for you. They'll have a planning session.
And I agree, and absolutely, and the AIA would be a really good resource from a community standpoint to engage architects instead of specific firms. So thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Just one more, go ahead.
Hi there, my name is Carly Rowland. I work for Mission Commercial Realty, and my question would be, what would you say to the folks who are not comfortable going to those public spaces because some of the communities are located where traditionally high crime is also associated. I personally live in the city. I don't feel that way, but I also have friends and family who I try to convince to come downtown and enjoy what we have here. And as this gets developed, I would hate for it to get unused because of the mindset that maybe it is unsafe.
So perception, I recognize that perception is reality, and crime in the city of Rochester is down significantly. Year over year, right now, shootings are down significantly. Murders are down 50%, and so. But I understand that we have a ways to go to convince people. One of the reasons why we have a downtown police station in the middle of downtown is so that people can understand that we recognize that this place needs to feel inviting and people need to feel safe. Well, everyone comes downtown for the Jazz Festival. There's 200,000 people. I was just at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. You had, 100,000 people downtown. People feel safe when other people are around. And so that's what we have to create, the environment that we have to create. And once people start coming outside of their lofts and outside of their apartments and utilizing and walking around and being a part and engaged in the community, that will bring that will change that perception a lot more than I can just telling you the statistics. When we talk to our police department, we do have our deputy chief, LaRon Singletary, who is focused on how we can really change the perception that Rochester isn't safe. Actually, downtown is probably the safest place in the entire city of Rochester. And so we have work to do on our end, but that's why we're doing stuff like this. Because if we can draw people, then people feel more inclusive and safe, and nobody has a problem coming down for Jazz Festival, coming down for French Festival, coming down here for parades and other things like that. It's just you have to get boots on the ground. You have to get people outside, walking around and feeling a part of our city and a part of our community, not just visitors, but residents, to make sure that we continue to be able to revitalize our community. Thank you so much. I have to go and grab my daughter. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Round of applause for Mayor Warren. Thank you, Mayor. Just to wrap up very quickly, a couple of things. I want to appreciate the mayor coming and taking questions, staying longer than she was scheduled. She has a family commitment. A couple of things to comment before we close. I thought great questions and comments by the audience. One of the things we are doing is the committee is going out to neighborhoods. We understand a lot of people don't come to meetings or big public meetings. We're going out to them and all the sectors. I know Plex, Lyle Avenue, over on St. Paul Street. We're looking at the different neighborhoods throughout the city affected by the river, going to people and asking for their ideas. There is actually an architect on the panel. He was not selected as an architect. Clement Chung is on as a ROC City Coalition member, but I think the point that the mayor made was a good one. We did not include architects, engineers as a group, or developers. I think at some point a lot of work will be done. We don't want to create any conflicts. So we will meet with people in groups individually, and then we're hoping that there's going to be a lot of private sector investment. We're looking probably a 3 or 4 to 1 in public, and we're hoping to get that off the ground very soon. May is going to be when the plan goes in. It's a pretty aggressive schedule, and there's 2 last things I want to say. I would ask anybody here, your input, your suggestions. You can go on the website, you can email. So if you can't get to the meeting, get your suggestions to us. I think the mayor and team have done a phenomenal job putting projects together. A lot of input is still to be had. We're looking to start off with maybe that 1 or 2 wow projects that will really grab people's attention. Canal Side, Buffalo is a great example. Canal Side, if you've ever been there, my last life was there. I probably lived in Buffalo half the time during that process. Buffalo came together. It is a phenomenal place. In the wintertime, they skate. Summertime, there's boats. Families are there. A lot of open space. It's beautiful. It really is. And there's a lot more to come. A lot of development around it, a lot of private development. And I think maybe not exactly what they've done in Buffalo, but how they did it is a lesson for us. And the last thing I want to say is this. Having had a little experience like the mayor in terms of projects, as a community, we have a history often of half like it, half don't like it. And, you know, I think we have to look at ways, how do we end up coming to a consensus? I want to thank Don Jeffries who's in the audience. Don does a tremendous job bringing tourists to this community, tourism downtown, convention after convention. As the mayor said, giving people something to come out and walk to and walk around is really important. This will spark even more tourism, which creates jobs. But the one thing we have in Rochester is this issue of projects die. Half want it, half don't want it, and it stops. And monies are available and things like that. It dries up. And we have a reputation by many people that make these decisions that we can't get it done because we fight and fight and fight. So I just would say this: the input is tremendous, and we may not all agree on something. And I'm not a decision maker, nor is Ann Kress, and it's really trying to get the ideas together and present them. But if we could just come to a consensus at some point as a community about let's go with this one, and maybe this one first and this one second, and come to an agreement as opposed to having it stop, freeze, and it goes away. And I think it really is a challenge for us. Buffalo has done that. And Buffalo has gone through the same situation we are going through now, that sometimes, whatever it may be, and I've said, the mayor shared, and the mayor is doing her best to create investment and excitement downtown. You can see by these projects, she's doing a great job. We need to support these, but if we could just get to a point where we say, okay, maybe I like this one a little better, but I can support this one first, to get things going, build the momentum, and I think if we can do that, it will take off, and that'll be a catalyst for change, and maybe show that we can get things done, because I can list project after project after project. It just seems like half for, half against, and it stops. And I do think this community, and I think all segments of it have to be a part of this. And most important thing, we have a lot of young professionals here. We're not building it for today, we're building it for tomorrow. So our young professionals and their families are ones that will probably have this in front of them for 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And I hope that's why Clem came on our board, to make sure we can connect with all the YPs here, and those that live in the city, are raising their kids, or maybe going to get married and live in the city, and they'll be here for the next 30, 40, 50 years. We're really kind of building for them. Because if somebody asked me, will this really take 10 or 20 years? Yes, it will. This will take a long time to complete, but the mayor's done a tremendous job getting this off the ground. So we want to support what they're doing. Ask to get involved, and Clem Chung is here. I see him in the back. I want to give him a shout out. I want to make sure that you get involved. If you can't get to a meeting, Clem is on a committee, Norm Jones. You can email, go on the website, call, send us a note. Any input you have, we want to have and incorporate that into the final project. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight and taking time. Have a great time. Have some food and drinks, and hopefully see you the next one. Thank you.